Sim Pradhan. Let's begin with the top stories this hour. Trend of government making popular decisions but failure on the implementation aspect dent government credibility. Central Bank increases the required amount of paid-up capital for banks and financial institutions in a bid to centralize the sparsely distributed capital. US President Donald Trump held Supreme Court ruling upholding his travel ban, which prevents citizens from several Muslim-majority countries to travel to the US. And Argentina oust Nigeria 2-1 to qualify for the round of 16, faces a tough tie against France in the pre-quarterfinals. Let's begin with the national political updates. The trend of the government making popular decisions but failing in the implementation part has been witnessed in recent times, which has further dented the government credibility. This shows the government's apathy on the one hand, while on the other there is a risk of increasing dissatisfaction on behalf of the public. Home Minister Ram Bahadur Thapa's warning to punish contractors who were careless and sluggish in the construction of roadways had impressed a vast majority of the people. However, the Home Minister has been failing to stand to his commitment and take action against them. Another decision was also made to break the long-term syndicate scene in the transport sector, but this effort did not prove to be effective either. Let alone these issues, the Home Ministry has stepped back from its decision to have office bearers and working committee members of the national and international non-government organizations to compulsorily present their property details at the district administration office. Despite having a government of more than two-thirds majority, no significant progress has been witnessed than that of an ordinary communist government. Nepali Congress, which had two inter-party factions since the establishment, has now been divided into three following the 13th General Convention. However, it has been experienced that the introduction of the third faction has prioritized personal interests. In recent time, there are three factions in Nepali Congress which are separately led by Party President Sher Bahadur Deuba, Senior Leader Ramchandra Paudel and former General Secretary Krishna Prasad Sitaula. At a time when the Deuba and Paudel factions were in competition at the General Convention, the Sitaula faction emerged as a third pole in the party. Candidate for the position of Party President Ramchandra Paudel had to suffer defeat in the election due to the role played by the Sitaula faction. Soon after, the Sitaula faction took the responsibility of Ministry of Health, Ministry of Defence and Women Association among other sister organizations by merging with the Deuba faction. However, the Sitaula faction criticized Deuba's leadership after facing heavy defeat in the provincial and central elections. The Sitaula faction then teamed up with the Paudel faction. In this merger, the Sitaula faction took over the important positions in the trade union, teachers association, workers union and engineers association. Leader Sitaula introduced a third pole, saying the traditional factions did not head the party in a positive path. Youth leaders who are expected to bring changes are also included in the faction. However, the faction has been blamed for making the party unbalanced rather than heading it towards stability. And with that, it's now time for a short break. More news when we come back. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. The Tribhuvan International Airport, the country's only international airport, has been operating for 21 hours a day since last month. Although the operating hours have been increased to 21 hours from 18.5 hours a day, regular flights have not been coming in during the extended hours. It is estimated that it would take 3 more months for this to happen. The Tribhuvan International Airport had been operating until 12:30 a.m., but the operating hours were extended to 3 a.m. since 21st of May. Only cargo planes, chartered planes and planes delayed due to technical and other reasons have been coming in during the extended hours. The airlines that have been operating regular flights to Kathmandu have not been able to take advantage of the extended operating hours. The international airlines that land and take off from the Tribhuvan International Airport usually make changes to their flight schedule only twice a year, once during summer and the other during winter. Making changes in the flight schedule is very sensitive since it affects connecting flights. It's off-season right now and around 400 flights land and take off on a daily basis. But during peak season, the number of flights reach around 550. The 21-hour operation of Tribhuvan International Airport is expected to provide some relief during peak season. Welcome back. In order to centralize the sparsely distributed capital, the central bank increased the required amount of paid-up capital for banks and financial institutions. While the central bank and those in favor of the merger and acquisition believe it would strengthen banking processes, other financial experts opine it would increase the risk on financial institutions and suggest on becoming aware of potential failures. As the central bank is doing its homework to finalize on this fiscal policies, many have suggested for the merger of large banks to establish a quality banking service. The central bank had ordered to increase the paid-up capital of banks to 8 billion rupees 2 years ago, expecting for the number of banks to decrease automatically. However, the number of mergers have not met the central bank's expectations. Instead, banks called for rights share from the public in a bid to increase their paid-up capital and avoid the merger situation. Currently, there are a total of 28 A-class commercial banks, 57 development banks and 99 financial institutions that are operating with the permission of Nepal Rashtra Bank. In the new banking policy, the central bank has been suggested that the bankers should also decrease the number of institutions through merger and acquisition. And now time for segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And the question is, why has the government stepped back from its own decision to improve social degradation? Your options are: option A, pressure from personal interest groups; option B, decision without preparation; and option C, cheap popularity. The voting for the question is on. Type NAWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And we had asked the residents of Jhapa and Dadaldura why they think has the government stepped back from its decisions. Let's now take a look at what they have to say.
Public voice.
सबैले केही गर्छु भनेर आउँछन् तर दलका कार्यकर्ता जोगाउने नाममा निर्णय फेर्न बाध्य हुन्छन्।
आफ्नो मान्छेलाई उनीहरूले नातावाद कृपावादले गरेर माथिल्लो स्तरमा पुर्याएका हुन्छन्, उनीहरूले आवश्यक कारबाही गर्न सक्दैनन्।
कुनै तयारी नगरेर नै एकदम आफूलाई जनतासँग धेरै राम्रो काम गरिसक्यौं भन्ने देखाउने खालका निर्णयहरू गर्यो।
कर्मचारी तन्त्र हावी भयो। एउटा त्यो हो भने कर्मचारीलाई उछिनेर अगाडि जान सरकारले सकिराखेको छैन। अहिले
सरकार र ठेकेदारहरूको मिलेमत हुनाले हैन जनताका छेउमा देखाउने अर्कै छ, यता जनतालाई त्यसरी ढाँटछल गर्ने हैन ठग्ने यिनीहरूको धन्दै भएको छ नेपालमा।
सामान्य चोरहरू चाहिँ गाउँमा पक्डिन सक्छन्, ठुल्ठुलो चोरहरू चाहिँ अब सक्दैनन् पक्डिन। त्यो चाहिँ अब के हो भन्दा सरकार कर्मचारी सबै मिलेर चोरी भइरहेछ देशमा।
And before we wrap up, here's a look at the top stories one more time. Trend of government making popular decisions, but failure on the implementation aspects dent government credibility. Central bank increases the required amount of paid-up capital for banks and financial institutions in a bid to centralize the sparsely distributed capital. US President Donald Trump hails American Supreme Court ruling upholding his travel ban, which prevents citizens from several Muslim-majority countries to travel to the US. And Argentina snatched a late winner against Nigeria to qualify for the round of 16, face a tough tie against France in the pre-quarterfinals. And those were our latest headlines. Our next English bulletin will be at 11 a.m. Stay with us for more news and entertainment on Kantipur Television SD. Have a good day.